Ain't Jemima on the pancake box? There have been many representatives of the auntie on a box and a bottle. Aunt Jemima was with us for 131 years, a staple on the kitchen shelf, until she was culture canceled. In July 2020, Quaker Oats, the most recent owner of the brand, announced that they would X the brand image, but not the great product. But why? That's exactly what people black and white asked. Some of the complaints that circulated social media went like this. Nancy Green, a great woman erased from history by idiots. The branding of the syrup was a tribute to this woman's gifts and talents. Now, future generations will not even know this beautiful woman existed. What a shame. The world knew her as Aunt Jemima, but her given name was Nancy Green, and she was a true American success story. She was born a slave in 1834 in Montgomery County, Kentucky, and became a wealthy superstar in the advertising world as its first living trademark. Green was 56 years old when she was selected as spokesperson for a new ready-mix self-rising pancake flour and made her debut in 1893 at a fair and exposition in Chicago. She demonstrated the pancake mix and served thousands of pancakes and became an immediate star. She was a good storyteller. Her personality was warm and appealing, and her showmanship was exceptional. Her exhibition booth drew so many people that special security personnel was assigned to keep the crowds moving. Nancy Green was signed to a lifetime contract, traveled on promotional tours all over the country, and was extremely well paid. Her financial freedom and stature as a national spokesperson enabled her to become a leading advocate against poverty and in favor of equal rights for all Americans. She maintained her job until her death in 1923 at age 89. This was a remarkable woman, and sadly, she has been erased by politics. I wanted you to know and remind you in this cancel culture time period. Wow, doesn't seem fair. Here's the persona of a heartwarming image, a black woman doing what black women did in that day. The slave image mammy was depicted as having a positive attitude, who loves to cook and eat, noted by her girth, smiling, not grinning, who appeared to enjoy serving others. She is friendly and easy to be around and enjoys the company of white people. Why, she's almost like family. What's not to love? And she was loved. But Aunt Jemima was a brand, not a person, and Nancy Green played that character. She dressed in a costume and promoted pancake mix. She had been a slave, but Aunt Jemima was a created history that they wanted known. The life of Aunt Jemima, the most famous colored woman in the world, was a pamphlet crafted for Green to use to tell the story of her character. The auntie's history included being enslaved by fictitious Colonel Higby from Louisiana. And during the Civil War, Auntie lured Northern soldiers with her famous pancakes, which gave Colonel Higby a chance to escape. Auntie also hailed the Confederacy as the chivalrous war heroes. This was a way for the company to make her acceptable to people north and south. Branding and marketing. Aunt Jemima was brought into the household through advertising in a welcoming way, not just on the box and in the kitchen, but as a participant in the home. Need a happy home? Auntie to the rescue. Don't worry, Mother. Your family will love my old Southern recipe for light, fluffy pancakes, and we have maple syrup too. This campaign was so successful, Auntie found her way deeper into lives of American families, solving the riddles of the home on leave, the four-star attraction, just before Christmas. Hey, Mom, who said us kids can't cook? Clean Plate Club, mass production, Mother's Dream Comes True, and a few more. Representing a brand. There were at least 11 notable Aunt Jemima representatives. Not all were fat or mammy-like. Not all were dark-skinned. They earned livings during Jim Crow, the Depression, and into the 1960s. You've heard Nancy Green's story. She refused to journey to Paris for the 1900 exposition, so Agnes Moody was hired to represent the company there. She came home to speaking opportunities that furthered her notability. Lillian Richard was hired by the Quaker Oats Company to portray Aunt Jemima in 1925 and remained in the role for 23 years. She was described as a slender person. She was honored with a Texas Historical Marker in 2012 in her hometown. Perhaps the face of Auntie has been immortalized by Rosa Washington Riles, who was the third face on Aunt Jemima's packaging in the 1930s until 1948. She had been employed as a cook in the home of a Quaker Oats executive and began pancake demonstrations at her employer's request. Anna Robinson was hired to play Aunt Jemima at the 1933 Century of Progress World's Fair. She auditioned for the role. She weighed over 300 pounds and was more like the mammy stereotype. She became famous serving pancakes to the celebrities of the day at popular locations. She served until 1951. Anna Short Harrington was discovered by Quaker Oats Company in 1935 while cooking pancakes at the New York State Fair in Syracuse, New York. Her picture was drawn and her image was publicized all over America as Aunt Jemima. Sponsors paid her to travel around the country, making appearances in costume, and she even had her own television show. Gwen Reed was an actress, performing in theater with an impressive portfolio and later directed productions. She was also an advocate for childhood literacy. From 1946 to 1964, Reed took on the role of Aunt Jemima, traveling to festivals, grocery stores, and state fairs, promoting the brand. Edith Wilson became the face of Aunt Jemima on radio, television, and she was a classic blues singer from Chicago and a well-educated family in Louisville. Edith Ernestine Harper portrayed Aunt Jemima during the 1950s. Harper graduated from college at the age of 17, taught elementary school for 2 years, high school mathematics for 10 years before moving to New York City, where she performed in theaters and toured Europe during and after World War II as one of the Ginger Snaps. Pancakes at Disneyland means Aunt Jemima cooking them. Eileen Lewis portrayed Aunt Jemima at Disneyland's Aunt Jemima's Pancake Kitchen from 1957 until her death in 1964. It was a popular eating place and drew more than pancake lovers. Lewis was sought after for pictures with guests, including Indian Prime Minister Nehru. She had a close relationship with Walt Disney. Rosie Lee Moore Hall portrayed Aunt Jemima from 1950 until her death in 1967. She worked for Quaker Oats in the company's Oklahoma advertising department until she answered their search for a new Aunt Jemima. Hers was the last face of Aunt Jemima. Paul traveled the country cooking pancakes at World's Fairs and annually at the Texas State Fair. Her headstone proudly notes that she was Aunt Jemima for 25 years. You've met some of the women who agreed to represent Aunt Jemima for Quaker Oats and previous companies. It was a branding persona, so why the calls for dismissal of the image? It was what the image told the public, not what Quaker Oats presented in their campaigns. Aunt Jemima was also a looming presence in America on postcards, sheet music, theater productions, rag dolls, candies, on packaging, and more, with the same name. Some were not flattering or representative of Black women of these times. Of all the images of Black women in the 1900s, 1920s, 1940s, and on, why Aunt Jemima as the representative? These are images of real women that the public saw every day, but not the look they were going for. This is why the resistance to Aunt Jemima, not the lovely women who were paid to portray the brand. Collectors do not see the faces of the women hired by Quaker Oats, but caricatures of servant-class Black women, not in their best presentation. Collectibles were mounted on the shelves of American homes. Seems our friends Uncle Ben, the Cream of Wheat guy, and Mrs. Butterworth may be canceled too. They say that Mrs. Butterworth was originally modeled on Thelma Butterfly McQueen, Prissy, in Gone with the Wind. But the woman I saw on TV commercials was definitely an older white woman.